Hello, this year is given in memory of Rachelea Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi, as always, and it should be an aliyah for her neshama. We're in Yecheskel Perek Chaf Daled. So in the previous Perek, as you may recall, the Jews were still unwilling to confront that they're going to have to pay for their life choices. So they kept on relating what was happening to political considerations. That's why the king of Ammon will attack, things like this. And they kept on feeling that somehow it's going to be okay. So in this Perek, Yecheskel is going to tell them that the source of what happens to them is not political. It's coming from a different place. Let's see what he says. Vayehi devar Hashem elai, and it was that Hashem spoke to me, b'shana ha'tzi'it, in the 9th year. This is the 9th year of King Tzidkiyahu. B'chodesh ha'asiri, the 10th month. B'asor l'chodesh, in the 10th day. So it's the 10th day of the 10th month. Ben Adam, human being, Ketov lecha et shem hayom, write down the name of the day, meaning Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Et etzem hayom, and the essence of the day, what day it is, what day in the month it is. Smach melech Bavel el Yerushalayim, because that's going to tell you when the king of Bavel is going to approach Yerushalayim. Be'etzem hayom hazeh, it's going to be at that day. Okay, so he tells him what to write. So let's talk about the extreme exactitude that's being presented here. So Yecheskel wanted them, by giving them an exact day, here's when it's going to happen, for them to realize that this is not a consequence of human choice, but it's from Hashem. Okay, so at that point, there's almost no way they could still fall into the trap of denying his nevuah. Okay, so let's look at the days. Okay, so there were, from the time of this date, when he's saying it's going to happen, until the time that the city was besieged, was forced opened. Okay, in fact, there were 514 days. Now, who cares? What does this tell us? So, when you realize the following, they left Egypt in 2448, and the destruction took place, okay, guess how many years, let's look at the years, in 3358. What you're going to see is that these days paralleled the years of freedom that they had. A day for a year. So they're being told that they're going to have this many days until the destruction, starting now. So there's no doubt about when the starting date is, and they'll see themselves when they get to the end date that it parallels the days in which, the years in which they had their freedom. So what they're being told is that they had misused freedom. So let's talk about freedom and misuse. So all of these years in which things were going relatively well for them, okay, what were they thinking when they did the wrong thing? Shemitah, you don't keep Shemitah, but rain tomorrow, rain the next day. You don't free your slaves, so you have more workers. Well, the tragedy that occurred was that the Jews of the time were misguided. They confused Hashem's compassion and patience with distance and hefkerus. So the reason why Hashem doesn't punish immediately is to give us time to pull it together, to change, to do tshuva. But the more time they were given, the more distant they became, and the less involved they were in the spiritual side of their lives, which was a great tragedy. So the cheshbon was exact, even in terms of this. There are 4 extra days for the 4 partial days and leap years. Okay, and if you take a look at the pasuk here, you'll see something else that's interesting. Again, let's look at pasuk bet. Ben Adam, ketov lach Shem hayom hazeh ve'etzem hayom hazeh samach melech Bavel el Yerushalayim. Okay, it's written Yerushalayim, but with no yud, no final yud, and it's not written Yerushalayim as it's often written, but Yerushalayim, with this rather conspicuous missing yud. Okay, so what's this about? Okay, so if you take a look again at the date, okay, so the day itself is Asor, and the etzem is Asara. The word Asor, okay, equals 576. And if you add